Hey, how are you guys doing? Let's go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen. And what we're doing today is the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, and it's by T.S. Eliot. Here's the hook. What is something that, if you did it, would make everything in your life have more meaning and would make you more satisfied or complete? So, just think about this as you read through it, because I think this question applies very much so to the reading that you'll hear. And here it is.
Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient teeth raised upon a table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument with insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask what is it. Let us go and make our visit. In the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. The yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that rubs its muzzle on the window panes, licked its tongue into the corners of the evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in drains, let fall upon its back the soot that falls from chimneys, slipped by the terrace, made a sudden leap, and seeing that it was a soft October night, curled once about the house and fell asleep. And indeed, there will be time for the yellow smoke that slides along the street, rubbing its back upon the window panes. There will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. There will be time to murder and create, and time for all the works and days of hands that lift and drop a question on your plate. Time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions and for 100 visions and revisions before the taking of a toast and tea. In the room, the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. And indeed, there will be time to wonder, do I dare, and do I dare? Time to turn back and descend the stair with a bald spot in the middle of my hair. They will say, how his hair is growing thin. My morning coat, my collar mounting firmly to the chin, my necktie rich and modest, but asserted by a simple pin. They will say, but how his arms and legs are thin. Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute, there is time for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse. For I have known them all already, known them all. I've known the evenings, mornings, afternoons. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. I know the voice is dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a farther room. So how should I presume? And I have known the eyes already, known them all. The eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I am formulated, sprawling on a pin, when I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin to spit out all the butt ends of my days and ways? And how should I presume? And I have known the arms, already known them all, arms that are braceleted and white and bare, but in the lamplight downed with light brown hair. Is it perfume from a dress that makes me so digress? Arms that lie along a table or wrap about a shawl, and should I then presume? And how should I begin? Shall I say I have gone at dusk through narrow streets and watched the smoke that rises from the pipes of lonely men in shirt sleeves leaning out of windows? I should have been a pair of ragged claws scuttling across the floors of silent seas. In the afternoon, the evening sleeps so peacefully, smoothed by long fingers, asleep, tired, or it malingers, stretched on the floor here beside you and me. Should I, after tea and cakes and ices, have the strength to force the moment to its crisis? But though I have wept and fasted, wept and prayed, though I have seen my head, grown slightly bald, brought in upon a platter, I am no prophet, and here's no great matter. I have seen the moment of my greatness flicker, and I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker, and in short I was afraid. And would it have been worth it after all, after the cups, the marmalade, the tea, among the porcelain, among some talk of you and me? Would it have been worthwhile to have bitten off the matter with a smile, to have squeezed the universe into a ball, to roll it towards some overwhelming question, to say, I'm Lazarus come from the dead, come back to tell you all, I shall tell you all? If one, settling a pillow by her head, should say, that is not what I meant at all. That is not it at all. And would it have been worth it after all? Would it have been worthwhile after the sunsets and the dooryards and the sprinkled streets, after the novels, after the teacups, after the skirts that trail along the floor, and this and so much more? It is impossible to say just what I mean, but as if a magic lantern threw the nerves and patterns on the screen, would it have been worthwhile if one, settling a pillow or throwing off a shawl, and turning toward the window should say, that is not it at all. That is not what I meant at all. No, I am not Prince Hamlet, nor was meant to be. I'm an attendant lord, one that will do to swell a progress, start a scene or two, advise the prince, no doubt an easy tool, deferential, glad to be of use, politic, cautious and meticulous, full of high sentence, but a bit obtuse. At times, indeed, almost ridiculous. Almost at times, the fool. I grow old. I grow old. I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled. Shall I part my hair behind? Do I dare to eat a peach? I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me. I have seen them riding seaward on the waves, combing the white hair of the waves blown back when the wind blows the water white and black. We have lingered in the chambers of the sea, by seagulls wreathed with seaweed red and brown, till human voices wake us and we drown.
Okay, so let's get back
Start
over.
the year smiling at Aspen Dental with our biggest
me,
savings of the season.
sorry.
Right now during the Everyday Smiles event.
Let me get back over here. And the next one is you can't see the top part here because of also seeing me, but this is written in Italian, and basically it's from Dante's Inferno, and he just feels like Prufrock just feels like pretty much he's in hell, as far as like his mental state and emotionally. And it says I can't read all of it here because it's cut off, but it says that my reply were given to anyone who might return to the world, this flame would stand forever still. But since never from this deep place has anyone returned alive, if what I hear is true, without fear of infamy, I answer thee. And so he's in a state of self-doubt and definitely overanalyzing. And then it says he can never truly escape his mind. That's what it feels like. He's in hell or Hades. And so he spends a lot of time debating himself. And I also put that he has not time to participate in reality. He struggles in that area. So as we go through these lines, I'm going to just the words that I highlighted over here. I'm going to spend some time using those. And the first one is you and I. And who is being addressed here is not clear. And so the way that I just look at it is though he's talking to me. And so you can, it may be the speaker, an imaginary companion. It doesn't really say. The first line here that, other than that one that I like to go over is like a patient etherized upon a table. So whenever you think about that, it's like, my interpretation of that line is that you feel kind of numb, like you're walking through life and you don't really have, I don't know, you're just going through the motions. You're not so much a part of it. And then I highlighted some other things that I thought were important, but I'm not going to really expound on those because they're clear. Restless nights, one night, cheap hotels. And then here, streets that follow like a tedious argument. And so, whenever you think of that, it's basically like it's not going anywhere, that kind of thing. And then of insidious intent, like it's bad. The next one here is yellow fog. So, you know, he's on this journey. He's on, and that it's like a metropolitan area, the yellow fog. And then it goes into a comparison here. Rubs its back, rubs its muzzle, licked its tongue. So here we see personification, and there's a comparison here, obviously, with a cat. And then after that, it starts just this downward spiral. We start with the sky, and then we go, it says drains, falls, slipped, different places here. And then the last portion says curved once upon the house and fell asleep. And so it's like he wants to do something, and obviously he needs to be courageous, but it's like his courage just fell asleep. The next line here, there will be time. So whenever we think about time, in our day, we think about time as being too busy. We don't have time for this. But whenever he's looking at it, it's always like, there's going to be another opportunity. I don't need to do it right now. So he's procrastinating. He needs more confidence. And then the following, to prepare a face to meet the faces. And, I don't know if you've ever done this, but have you ever pretended to not be how you actually are in a certain situation emotionally? And so you put on a face that is acceptable. Maybe you're sad and you don't want people to ask you questions. Excuse me. Or you're angry. And so let me take a drink real quick. And so you put on this face that's acceptable to where people won't be prying into to really what's going on. And then to murder and create. Here, it's not murdering in a sense of, how we may, first think, but it's to shoot down. He'll have a thought, he'll have courage, but then it goes away. And then it comes back again. So it's like he doubts himself again. And so there's a spiraling, a circling of like having courage, and having hope, and then it going away. 100 indecisions, and for 100 visions and revisions. So have you ever had a situation where you don't know what to do? So you may ask your mom or a close friend and say, you're just so unsure. You're like, or sending a text, and it's like, should I say this? What will they think? What will they read into this? And so there's certain times where we lack confidence. And I didn't go over the first time. This is the second time that this portion is mentioned. In a room, the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. And so here it's like they're trying to sound better, or like they're more knowledgeable or more in intellectual than what they really are. And so you may have those times where it's like you just want to feel important. So there are those kind of people also in the room. But then his issue here is he has this bald spot. So that's his insecurity. And then it says, my necktie rich and modest. And so it's like he feels comfortable in his attire, but the bald spot. And then down here at the bottom, for decisions and revisions, which a moment will reverse. So he's brave in his imagination, but reality reversed his confidence and makes him second guess himself. The following one, this is probably one of the most famous lines in here. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. He has gone to so many different social events that, that's not the issue. His issue is not putting himself out there, But his issue is that he's lacking something, and we're getting ready to find out what it is. And it's like he needs to be brave for a moment here. And then the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. So, right below that, what it's talking about is I heard one professor say about this being compared to like an insect in a bug collection, where you pin it and it's like studied. So that's kind of how he felt that the questions that would be asked, that it it may cause him to say something that he doesn't want to say, or something he doesn't know how to say because he really doesn't know who he is. Excuse me. And then the arms. Some people have a foot fetish, but here it's talking about he recognizes women's arms. And so, it's he's just really shy around them. And then the dust through the narrow streets. And it's just kind of once again saying that, he's having a hard time navigating his life. Down here at the bottom, once again, a pair of ragged claws scuttering across the floors of silent seas. So, we started with the sky, and then it's like it's descending. And so now we're not in hell, not where we started with Dante's Inferno, but we are at the lowest part of the natural world, and that's how he feels. And also with the claws, you could think of, being klutzy and awkward. Malingers. I don't use this word very much. I looked it up, and denotatively, the dictionary definition does refer to it a lot of times being connected to illness, or to maybe acting as though you're sick. And so I I interpret it as an exaggerated way getting out of something. And then the next one, should I, after tea and cakes and ices, have the strength to force the moment to its crisis? Should I risk it all? Should I say it? What is it that he wants to say? What is it that, if he said this one thing, what would people know that's in his heart? That kind of thing. And then at the very bottom, and I have seen the internal footman hold my coat and snicker, and in short, I was afraid. So here he finally says, I've been saying that he's been lacking courage. Well, now he just comes right out and says, I was afraid. And so he's afraid of death, and he's afraid of being laughed at, that, he's going to go and he's going to die and not ever say what he needs to say because of fear. And on the next part, to have bitten off the matter with a smile. So, it's like, it sounds so easy to just say it. Like, if I would just say this one thing, and it would all be, it would just work, or it would just happen. But in his eyes, it would be such a big deal that compared it to squeezing the universe into a ball. And he even calls it now this overwhelming question. So what is it? What is this question that he wants to ask? And so, start thinking about that. It hasn't said what the question is, but is he thinking about a woman? He talked about the women's arms, and, a few references that way. And say, but also one commentary was talking about, I think it was a professor, that, or is it about himself and being really who he is, and saying this question that in some way will change him if said. So think also about, what if he said this, and what change would it bring to his life if he said it? And then reference to Lazarus, this is from the Bible. and coming back from the dead. And so he feels as though he was dead, but now is alive. And then it says that if he were to say it, that she wouldn't understand it. I bolded she because now we know that it is a female that he wants to say this to, and that most likely if he said it, he would be misunderstood. And so is he being fake? You know? And then it is impossible to say what I mean. It's not, but in his eyes, he can't seem to get through that if I do this one thing, then maybe they're going to really know who I am. And so it keeps circling the question, would it have been worthwhile? And then that is not it at all. That is not what I meant at all. Just the repetition of being misunderstood. Okay, now a reference to Prince Hamlet, and basically here it's talking about the fact that he's ambitious and he goes after what is not rightfully his. And I'm going to go ahead and end this here because I'm getting into tomorrow's lesson. I just realized that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and I'll pick up on these lines for the next video. Thank you. I'll talk to you later.